Welcome to Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean. Today I have my buddy Jules at the shop and his buddy Jorg visiting from Germany. And what I want to share with you today is a saga of Jules trying to figure out a high idle issue that has plagued him for a year and a half. The first thing he did to hopefully figure out this problem is he thought it might be a problem with his idle air control valve that attaches to the bottom of the throttle body. He watched my video, he took it off, he cleaned it, reinstalled it, and found that the high idle was still there. So then Jules decided to take it to a local mechanic because he didn't have the ability to test the IAC valve like I did in the video. And so he took it to a mechanic, and the mechanic decided to replace it. And he ended up replacing it, from what I can tell, with an aftermarket idle air control valve, and reinstalled the throttle body, and the high idle was still there. So that fix didn't work. Then Jules thought, hey, maybe it's the mass airflow sensor. He cleaned it. It didn't fix the high idle. He replaced the mass airflow sensor with an OEM sensor. That didn't fix it either. Then Jules thought, hey, maybe it's the throttle position sensor, which is not a bad idea. So he threw that part at it, and that was an OEM sensor, and that helped with the throttle a little bit, like it was a little hesitant, so it did do something, but it still didn't fix the high idle. So then Jules replaced the PCV valve and the hose, and he said that the idle dropped about 400 RPMs. It was up at like 2,000, then it dropped to somewhere around 1,500 to 1,600 RPMs. And I don't understand how that fixed the high idle, other than there might have been a crack in the hose that allowed unmetered air into the engine. So that's my theory, because I don't think a clogged PCV valve would cause a high idle issue. So he did that. But again, it was still idling way higher than it should be. Like, it should be idling somewhere around 800 RPMs when the engine is warmed up, 700 to 800. So then Jules threw more parts at it and decided to replace the upstream and downstream O2 sensors. It still had a high idle. So then he meets me and he tells me all of the things he's tried so far. And I thought, well, maybe it could be just a problem with the throttle body itself. Sometimes there's a little bit of extra play in that air baffle, and that could be allowing more air into the engine than would normally be. And so it causes that high idle problem. So in an attempt to isolate the potential problem with the high idle situation, what I decided to do is I took the throttle body off my 2000 4Runner and we swapped it into Jules' third gen 4Runner. And lo and behold, the high idle problem was gone. So obviously that told Jules and I that we knew the problem was with the throttle body, whether it was the aftermarket IAC valve that was installed by the mechanic, whether it's a problem with the throttle position sensor that Jules put on, or it's just a problem with the throttle body itself. I got a used throttle body from my buddy Josh Young, who runs Pacific Northwest 4Runner Connection up in Washington. He parts out 3rd gen and 4th gen 4Runners, and he sells used parts for an affordable cost. So I just got that throttle body delivered to my house in Bend, Oregon, and we're gonna swap that into Jules' 3rd gen. If we see that that throttle body is working properly and his truck is idling like it should, we're going to take it one step further, because I really want to know what was the culprit. Is it the throttle body itself? Is it the aftermarket IAC valve? Or maybe it's the throttle position sensor. Once we determine that everything on that throttle body is working as it should, then we're going to take it back off, and I want to take the IAC valve off of that replacement throttle body and put it on the one that's originally on Jules' truck, and see if the cause of the high idle all along was the IAC valve, and it was just a big, big mistake to put an aftermarket IAC valve on his truck. So without further ado, we're going to get out to the truck and we're going to get his throttle body off. Here's a nice new toy that I got from Milwaukee. It's an underhood light to give tons of light when you're working on your engine. And it's got these spring sides, so I could just hook it here, extend it, and then push the button to turn it on. And look at all that light. This is sweet. I don't even really have to rely on a headlamp like I usually do. So this is an awesome thing. And it's got like different modes. So you have a low setting and a high setting. And it runs off of an M12 battery. So that's pretty nice. And you could swivel this to get the light where you want it. Highly recommend getting one of these for working on your vehicle. The first thing I'm going to disconnect is this air tube in between the air box and the throttle body. There's some hoses I have to disconnect. One of them's right here. I'll just slide this off. Normally, the hose that goes over from the evap canister to here is plugged in here, so you'll probably have to pull that off. This is an aftermarket silicone hose that Jules put on his rig. Part of his searching for vacuum leaks for his high idle problem. There's a connection here that attaches to the upper plenum. I'm gonna slide that off right there. Normally, there's a couple harness connections that goes over here that the mass airflow sensor comes off the harness right there. There's a clip here, and then there's one here. You could see the remnants of it, but it broke. So you'll have to undo those two connections. So that's everything for hose connections and harness connections. Now I'm gonna loosen the two clamps that attach the air hose to the air box and to the throttle body. It's a 10mm screw, or you can tackle it with a Phillips or JIS screwdriver. I'm gonna use a 10mm socket and one of my Milwaukee M12 ratchets. I'm gonna pull it off of the air box and then pull it off of the throttle body and then just fish this thing out. And there it is. From experience, when I wanna slide the throttle body off of the upper plenum, this number 3 cylinder coil pack is gonna get in the way, so I'm gonna remove this next. I'm gonna disconnect the electrical connector. The release mechanism for the connector is facing towards the front. Push that and pull that off. The coil pack is held to the passenger side valve cover with a 10mm bolt, and I'm gonna zip that out with my Milwaukee ratchet. I don't see any need to disconnect the spark plug wire that goes over towards the driver's side. I'm just gonna pull this out and set it over here. Now I'm gonna disconnect a couple electrical connectors for the throttle body. This bottom one is for the idle air control. The release mechanism is facing towards the front side. Squeeze that and disconnect that. At the back side of the throttle body is the throttle position sensor, and that release mechanism is facing towards the back. So you have to push it in and pull that out. So that's disconnected. There's a vacuum hose connection right here to the top of the upper plenum. I'm gonna slide that off. Again, this is an aftermarket silicone hose. Next, I'm gonna disconnect the 3 cables that attach to the throttle body. This is the cruise control cable, this is the transmission kickdown cable, and this is the throttle cable. They're held to the throttle body brackets with 2 14mm nuts. So I'll just get on here and break them free. Back it off a little bit, and then I could twist the throttle open, and then there's a lead end at the end of the cable that holds it into a channel here. You just gotta slide that out. And then I'll just tuck this over here out of the way. I'll next do the transmission kickdown cable. This one, I don't have to turn the throttle. I could just get it like this, take that lead end out, push that out of the way, and then I'll do the last one, the throttle. This one I do have to rotate, and I could slide that one out, and I'll just get this out of the way. I'm actually gonna unhook it here so I could get it more out of my way. The next thing I'm gonna disconnect is the air assist hose. It actually plugs into the idle air control valve, and there's no clamp, but it is a little bit difficult to get your hands in there to slide it back off of the nipple. So I like using these hose gripper pliers that come in a set of different sizes. This is like the medium size, and I'll grab onto that and just pull it backwards and get it off. And the reason why I take that off right now is when I remove the 12mm bolts and nuts that hold the throttle body to the upper plenum, that air assist hose is gonna hinder me from being able to pull it off of the studs to where I can have an easier time getting to the 2 coolant hoses that also attach to the idle air control valve. So next, I'm gonna use my Milwaukee ratchet, 12mm socket, and disconnect the 2 nuts and the 2 bolts below. Now with those bolts and nuts removed, I could pull this way. So I do like doing it this way because if you try to disconnect these coolant hoses while the throttle body is still connected to the upper plenum, it just makes it harder. So I like disconnecting that air assist hose and then disconnecting the throttle body so I can fold it down to where I can get to these clamps easier. So I'm just using a pair of my bent nose, needle nose pliers. I'm going to compress the constant tension clamp and slide it back on the hose and get it out of the way. You might find that these are really locked on there, and you could use a set of those hose gripper pliers like I use for the air assist hose, but since we had this off recently, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to pull this free easy, and I can. There's coolant going to be coming out, so to reduce the mess, I'm going to plug it with a silicone plug. I'm just going to get a rag right here because some coolant's going to come out of the IAC and I don't want it just dripping all over the exhaust manifold and maybe dropping down into that spark plug well. So try to be quick with this so you don't lose too much coolant. And I'll just plug that off. And as soon as I tilt this thing, it's going to start dumping out. So now I'll go for the other one. And I'm going to plug this one off too. And coolant is going places here. All right, the throttle body is free of the engine. So here's the replacement throttle body that I got from Pacific Northwest 4Runner Connection, and we're going to swap this in. I did clean out the bore of the throttle body with some throttle body cleaner on both sides. What you need to know, and this is like a common mistake that people do, is with the throttle body on the engine and it's their first time cleaning the throttle body, they'll spray a bunch of throttle body cleaner in here. And look what's right at the bottom. That is the port that drops down into the IAC. So you spray all this cleaner in there, all that black sludge drains right down in your idle air control valve, and then it gums up the idle air control valve little door that opens and closes. If you're going to clean your throttle body, I highly recommend you just spray some throttle body cleaner on a rag and then wipe it in here. And then if you want to be able to get right where the throttle plate meets up with the bore, you can turn this and be able to get in there easier to clean. So don't just spray a bunch of cleaner in here and let all the junk run down into your idle air control valve. So I'm going to get this on. I'm not going to bother showing it because you saw us take it off. I know you can get it back on. All right, we have the replacement throttle body swapped into Jules' engine, and he's going to start it, back it out of the shop so we're not pumping a bunch of exhaust into the shop and we die of carbon monoxide poisoning. And we're going to see if this throttle body is working like it should and he has a proper idle, not super high like he has now, like at 1500 RPMs. So here we go. All right, after running the engine for a while and getting it up to temperature, lo and behold, the high idle problem was still there. So we removed that replacement throttle body and we started looking closer at it, and we took a close look at the IAC and we noticed that the little IAC trap door was stuck in position. So I don't know what happened to that. Maybe it sat for a long time outside because the vehicles that Josh Young with his Pacific Northwest 4Runner Connection, the vehicles he gets have probably been sitting for a long time and maybe it just got rusted shut, who knows. So the replacement throttle body wasn't going to be the fix. So then we had to make a choice. What do we do now? We know that the problem lies with the throttle body, but we aren't 100% what the cause is. It could be the replacement OEM throttle position sensor, but that's probably not likely because it was an OEM part. It could be a problem with the bore of the throttle where the throttle plate is letting too much air into the engine. And then it could be that aftermarket IAC valve. So I know this is throwing parts at a problem, but we had a pretty good idea what the culprit was. It was that aftermarket idle air control valve that he had installed by a mechanic sometime in the past, like a year and a half ago. Jules replaced that IAC valve for an OEM one, and it was the fix. So all along, his first thought of the problem with his idle was the idle air control. The big mistake was letting a mechanic do the job for him and installing an aftermarket part rather than a OEM part. So now I'm going to get Jules in front of the camera and just talk a little bit about how the whole debacle happened and what he learned from this experience.
Yeah, so like Tim said, I tried to do the repair myself. I watched his first video of how he tests the IAC, and I cleaned it and it didn't work. So I was a little downtrodden and I took it to a shop because I thought I don't have the tools to test this and figure out what it is exactly. He replaced it. I paid $400 for it. I kind of suspected it wasn't an OEM because that price was a little low. And then I spent a year and a half pulling out my hair trying to figure out what else the culprit could be. Went through pretty much everything. Yeah, after I hooked up with Tim, we threw his throttle body in and got to the root of the problem pretty quickly. So I guess take-home message here is don't buy aftermarket electronics.
Like Jules mentioned, that is the moral of the story. Aftermarket electronic parts is not a good way to go when it comes to working on your Toyota, Lexus, SUV, or truck. Aftermarket is great for a lot of things, for suspension, for roof racks, for lighting, for a whole host of things. But when it comes to a critical component that is communicating with your ECU, if you can't get an OEM part, pay once, cry once, and get the OEM part, because you're not going to have an issue like Jules experienced where he thought he ruled out the IAC when the whole time it was the IAC, and he pulled his hair out by buying a smoke machine, checking for vacuum leaks, by throwing money at it, by replacing the throttle position sensor, by just going crazy trying to figure this damn thing out, when all along it was because he let that mechanic do the job, and the mechanic did him a disservice by putting an aftermarket part in there. So learn from Jules' mistake that when it comes to electronic components that communicate with your vehicle's computer, always choose OEM, and you're going to be glad that you did. With all that said, we thank you for watching Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean and special guest Jules. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Click on that subscribe button. Also, click on that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when we put up new content on our channel, which we are always putting up very helpful and sick mods kind of content like this video here. Peace out. Happy wrenching. Happy diagnosing. Bye-bye.